Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nat and Nat Community Chat. All right. So, um, I got some cool stuff to go over in the first, 10 minutes or so. I'll give you guys a little webinar of some of the things that I've been doing and learning and um, just something that I think will probably hit home to a lot of you who sometimes maybe get burnout, particularly on the LinkedIn platform. I know that nobody's immune to burnout. So something tells me Elijah's probably going to like this information. Um, okay, so I went to the big fella this morning, Yasmin Alich. Okay, I sent him a telegram, and I'm like, dude, I can even share with you what I wrote. Okay, because I've been suffering burnout lately. It's very hard to maintain 500 comments a day, or whatever the hell I'm doing. All right. So I just want to go over something that I wrote to him, and he sent me a video as a response, which was pretty nice of him. But I said, and this one is also going to go out to Kyle because I know Kyle's like in the midst of his whole engagement strategy and all that kind of stuff. So I wrote to here. I'll share my screen. Uh, there, can everybody see Yasmin in there? That's all I'm talking. I don't know if you can hear this though. Can you hear this?
Hey, my good man, how's it going?
Can everyone hear that?
I know exactly what you're feeling, and
Yeah.
commenting strategy has changed this year in particular, just because a lot of people that I've been following. So, long story short, I no longer have lists. I genuinely don't have lists at all. I just comment on whoever's in the feed. I kind of know when everyone's posting anyhow. So, yeah, like my main priority is engaging with my community and engaging on my own posts because I get so many comments in the morning. Like just now I left like 20-30 comments at most. That's my first spurt. I'll do another spurt right now, maybe like 20 comments max, and then I'll do my entire 60 to 90 minutes gig on my own post, and then during the day probably like two more spurts for like 15, 20, 30 comments. That's it. Honestly, that's it these days.
Okay. Now he makes it sound like it's like no problem. It's real easy. Like we like all I'm doing is this, and magically I have these results, right? He has 275,000 followers. He can do that. Okay. But what I want to make clear to you guys is that what happens when you get to a certain level is at least from my perspective, I freaking go nuts if I can't respond to everybody and it bothers me, right? And you will reach a certain point where, guess what, folks? Tough. You got to make a decision, right? And you have to understand and really look at why you're on the platform, right? What you're doing on a daily basis, what your goals are. And that was something that really hit home to me. And what I'm not saying is to not have a strategy, to not have a list, to not all that. That comes later. I'm at a point right now where I'm like sort of retiring my list because I can get back to people who comment on my shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need a list. I don't need to get into someone's comments the second that they post. Because you want to know why? They're doing the same to me. Some people come in and they comment on my post 4 hours after it was posted, and that's a reciprocal relationship. That's okay, right? But when you can understand what your actual purpose is and what your goal is, it makes things a lot easier. P.S. This hasn't been proven, but I'm pretty damn sure it's also going to help your standing in the algorithm. There is no question that when you are commenting on new people every single day, it is going to help. I will repeat that. When you are commenting on new people every single day, it is going to help. And I've gone through this before, but I'm going to take you through it again. And I'm going to tell you guys my exact schedule that I'm going to be using on LinkedIn from now until the immediate future. Okay. And I will tell you exactly what I'll be doing every single day. Okay. So somewhere before my posts, somewhere before, 7 a.m. or whatever, I will likely be responding to all the stuff from the day before that I missed. That's one thing I'll be doing. The other thing I'll be doing is something similar to what Yasmin said. either through a feed or a list, doesn't matter. Start commenting on stuff, start commenting on people, but maybe get in a couple of people that you didn't know before, right? Then, in that crucial, as Holly Crawshaw calls it, the golden hour, right? Not golden shower, the golden hour, okay, people? Um, so Yasmin does it for 60 minutes to 90 minutes. The only reason he does that, the only reason, is because he's flooded with comments. So if you don't have 500 comments in the first hour, don't waste your time, right? Respond like, yes, respond to every comment, but if you only get 20, then that's all you get that day. Don't sweat it. Don't get upset because you know what you should be doing with the other time or whatever it is. Number one, you should be servicing clients, but number two, what's really important is building relationships, which is what we've gone over a million times. But what you can do also is, as Yasmin stated, leave your shit alone, do other stuff that's more valuable during the day, whatever it might be, and then come back, catch up on all the comments you might have missed, and then drop in some new comments again. You see, most people's strategy is comment on 5 new people's posts a day. When I hear that, I think 50. That's just me, okay? Because I'm crazy. But if somebody's doing 5, I'm going to do 50. So in my brain right now, I'm in very much new commenting mode. Now, here's a question a lot of people say. How the hell do I get new comments? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's the stealing method. Okay? Go down what I call a commenting rabbit hole. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Something that I learned from Darren McKee, even though we're very different. But he kind of talked to me in the DMs and he's like, dude, if you're not having fun, like, don't do it or something like that. I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, that's not really, I'm building a business here. Okay. So, but let me share my screen and show you an example of going down a commenting rabbit hole. And I'm going to use one of our own members to do this. Okay. Now, by the way, here's another suggestion on lists. Okay. If you are very wedded to lists like me and can't let go, um, something that you can do, something that Holly Crawshaw does and recommends is you can have like an OG list. So let me show you mine. So I have 3 names. So there's only 3 names that I comment on like early to see if I can like whatever pick up extra followers. Yasmin, Justin Welsh, Cody Sanchez, and Cody not really. She comments on my stuff anyway, or her VA does. Then you have something called a list A, and I make sure that that list A is no bigger than 40 names. Those are your OGs. If you're not on there, sorry guys. I'm not trying to be a dick. But it's kind of like 30 to 40 names of people that you can get to every day. Now, let me explain what's important about that. Is at any given time, I don't want to like have to open like a zillion tabs and have like 40 people to comment on. So I'll just kind of go, 4 or 5 at 6 a.m., 4 or 5 at 7, and that takes literally like half a minute. It's not very long. But then what you do is you can have certain now, and this is and that now here, look at this. This is just the rest. But I don't put pressure on myself on these names. My list B is the get tos. My list C is the get tos. These are people who like, if you make a comment once a week, that's probably enough. Just maintain the relationship, right? It doesn't have to be this insanity of going back and forth and crazy. The days of 500 comments are, I'm not saying they're over, but it's not as necessary today. Okay. And I don't want you guys to go crazy putting pressure on yourselves, even though that's definitely a strategy that, I've advocated for. And I still believe in doing a ton of comments, but better ones to the right audiences that are outside of your network, right? So now I'm going to take you through a commenting rabbit hole. What you want to do is target someone who is in your industry, tangentially related, whatever it might be, and you're going to go into their content. So I'm going to pick on Mondo. Mondo's in our community. Financial advisor. Chances are there's going to be a lot of financial advisors in his commenting sections, right? So here's Mondo's post. It was 5 hours ago. Couple things here. The main thing is you're going to click on comments on his last post, but what instead of most relevant, you want most recent. Okay? This is a strategy you can do before and after you post. You can even do it during while your stuff, to get more views to your post that's actually going like at that moment. But like Sarah Miss Kelly, for example, let's say she was a second connection because I'm only using these for new ones. So Lindsay Andrews is an example, right? I did this one before, but so she looks like a potential ICP. Mom of two, financial literacy enthusiast. Okay. CFP. That tells me she's, probably qualified. Build wealth and travel. Yep, that makes sense. Katie, there's Megan. Keep going. There's Anthony an hour ago. Now, the sooner they commented, the better, just so everybody knows. The sooner they commented, the better. Why? Because you're going to make a comment on their post and they're going to see, holy shit, that person commented. I don't know who they are. What are they going to do? They're going to go to your profile. They're going to do one of two things: find you either interesting, appalling, or they're going to look at your content and they'll make a comment. And what did I tell you guys? If somebody comments on your shit, that's a relationship building signal, right? So what I'll usually do is I'll do like 4 or 5 in a new tab. So here's Brian. Hey, my last name, Brian Berman. I already know who he is though. But you really want to go for names that you don't recognize. I saw Kelly before I reached out to her. I didn't know her, right? And you just keep going. Now, here's the beauty about the rabbit hole. So when that happens, I'll just X out Amando. Then I'll go into Lindsay and I'll see Lindsay's content. Only 600 followers, but that's a good sign in my opinion. She's a licensed CFP. She's an in member of LinkedIn. Means she's new. Means I could probably help her, right? Is she posting? Yup. Posted an hour ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. She's obviously into LinkedIn and she's into posting content. So what am I going to do? I'm going to leave a comment, right? I leave a comment. And that's some good parenting right there. What'd she do? She responded, right? Maybe she'll check out my profile. I don't even know yet, right? I have no idea. But all I know is that she responded to my comment. And that's a good thing, right? And then I can check out Nick. I did the same on him. He posted something 4 hours ago. There's only 3 comments. He's obviously going to know that I commented. That's another great opportunity, folks. Right? He responded there. Okay, he's probably not on LinkedIn very like at that much. But look at his profile. Wealth management, InMail. That's a potential client right there. That's a potential member. Now, one of the cool things you can do is the rabbit hole I was referring to is, let's say I go on Nick's and then you go on his post and who's commenting on his stuff. That's the rabbit hole. It never ends. So Gene Tynes, for example, even though he only had 3 comments, Gene's a potential someone, right? You go to Gene. He's in Bozeman. 139 connections? Probably not. Right? But so what? All right. Even so, let's say I decided not to comment in Gene's. I could still go on his content and see who his 8 commenters are. See, there's Nick, Andrew, regional manager, natural health. Maybe. There's Brian again. Load more comments. See, Andrew R. Is he a potential client? Maybe. He's got a shitty banner, so I could help him there, right? Is he really active on the platform? 2 days ago, 2 days ago, 5 days ago? Probably doesn't know what he's doing. All right, maybe I'll comment and sort of get his attention, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff you can do here, folks. But I've been going down these commenting rabbit holes a little bit more lately because here's what's going to drive you insane. And believe me, folks, I've been driven insane at a level that's 1,000 times what a lot of people are at here. And I only mean from a quantity perspective. What's going to drive you crazy is the treadmill. The treadmill is going to drive you up the fucking wall. Hey, I'm commenting on the same people's stuff every day. They're commenting on mine stuff. I'm not getting any new blood. And you're expecting the algorithm to do all the work and spread it out to all these people. You have to precipitate the algorithm to do some work itself. So you're going to do that in a couple of ways. You connect with new people, Kyle, right? You connect with new people every day. You comment on new people. every day. Those two things are going to expand your network in an incredibly just faster than you think or know. And so I know it like looks cool that I have an account that's wow, 500 likes and 800 comments. Holy shit. Like how do I do that? So what? Like so what? It doesn't matter, right? There are people who of all shapes and sizes who have amazingly successful businesses on here. And what I'm starting to realize is I was driving myself up the wall feeling so freaking obligated to reciprocate. That's why I can't stand pods and engagement groups because it's like fucking A. Like you have to do that. It's like, really? No. And I don't want all of you spending all of your hours doing that. You want to spend hours doing something? Find new people to be in your network. And then if they're one of your people, put them in that list. You know, that list of 40 people should be sacred, right? Like that's like the ones who you really pay attention to and really want to make sure that you comment and support every day. But all the other people, it's like, ask yourself this. If you've been commenting back and forth with the same person for a year and you never landed them as a client, like it's that, it's, come on, you know? Like, are they your buddy? Are they your best friend in the world? No, they're a commenting partner. Someone who's like in front of a screen somewhere. You'll never meet them. You'll never really talk to them. You've got to put people in that bucket and recognize like it's okay. It's okay. And if anyone is giving themselves that message today, it's me. It's like stop. Just stop it. You know? And for me, I'm just going to go ham commenting on new people. And I should have been doing this a long time ago. People are going to see my profile like, holy fuck, that guy's got 80,000 followers. He's commenting on my stuff. That's, oh, wow, that's great. Da, 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 da. You know? So anyway, I know that was really long, but I hope it was worth it and helpful. And you can play back this video whenever you want and laugh at me and my own therapeutic bullshit. But anyway, it's important, right? I think it's good to mention because this is why people burn out on this platform. And it happens fast, right? And so I don't want people getting stuck in the wrong rabbit hole, right? Get in the rabbit hole of like all these new people. That's a good thing. So anyway, Meryl Dini, what's up, Unshackled Career Woman?
Hey Nat, I have a question.
Mhm,
So most of my ideal clients, they just lurk in the background. They don't post.
mhm.
And right now I'm just trying to figure out like who do I connect with, and what I'm doing is commenting on other career coaches posts and leadership coaches posts. Is that the right approach, or is there something else I can do?
No, no, really good question. Now, this is very related to everything I was just saying. Now, are those career coaches ever going to be your clients?
No.
No, no chance. But guess what? Their commenters can. Their
Right.
commenters can.
Mhm.
So, one of two things. If you have good relationships with these people and you want to support their content, I think you absolutely should. Because let's face it, if there's like 10 or 20 of them, how long is that really going to take you? Right? It's not going to take you a long time to support them and comment on their stuff. Right? But they're perfect candidates for commenting rabbit holes. Right? Go into their stuff, see who's commenting on their stuff, and then comment on their stuff. Chances are people who are commenting on career coaches stuff are potential clients for you. And that is a really fast way of finding them. It's better than using Navigator. Want to know why? Because you don't have to look at Navigator and find out if they're active on the platform. You already know it because they're commenting.
Mm.
They're all there. So, yes, sure. Just don't comment on like 150 career coach profiles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go crazy. But here's what's also going to happen, which is interesting. There are certain people who are really good for going into these like commenting rabbit holes with. So I mentioned Mondo, right? But if I go into Mondo's profile every single day, I'm not going to get like 10 people new every single day because chances are his stuff is going to have the same people commenting over and over and over again, right? So
Mhm.
eventually you're going to run out there. So
Mm.
another good thing about the list that I have is like I have like 300 LinkedIn profiles. I could scrape all of them for their commenters, right? While at the same time supporting them. So for me now, my golden hour, which is really 2 hours, my 7 to 9 a.m. is going to be a mix of two things. And by the way, I apologize to everyone here if I don't like comment on your shit right away because of my new strategy, but I'll get to you. Don't worry. The point is, you got to look out for yourself, right? In the beginning, in your own account. So for me, I'm going to be tending to responding to all comments between 7 and 9, but making a concerted effort to do two things. Hit that list of 40, right? Which is it takes me 2 seconds, but also do a little bit of this rabbit hole stuff. So maybe hit up five, right? And then go back to responding to comments. Maybe hit up another five, go back to respond. I'm making a rule. I know I said five means 50 for me, but 20 is my minimum. If you're commenting on 20 new accounts every day, that's big time. But really, set a goal for 5 to 10. 5 to 10 new accounts every day. And you don't have to comment then on them over and over again. Want to know why? Because if they're really active, you'll find out. Believe me, you'll find out. They'll either view your profile, they'll comment back on one of your things, one of your posts. Some way you'll know that they're active. So you don't have to like break your back to get their attention and comment on their stuff every single day. And like, this is 300 million active people on the platform, right? Don't waste your time. So hopefully that helps. But for you, like I said, support who you want to support. But just remember, they're never going to be your client. So you don't have to spend too much time on them. Spend time on the people commenting on their stuff.
Okay. I have a follow-up question on that.
Sure, sure. Go
So
ahead.
there are some people, I comment on their post and they respond to my comments, but they don't come on my post and comment. Like, at what time do I say that, okay, I need to stop commenting on their posts?
Yeah, a month.
Okay.
A month. I usually let it go for like a month. Um, I have the I'm in a good position where it's like if you're not commenting on my shit, I'm not going to open up your profile and comment on your stuff. Like I can sort of do that and get
Okay.
away with it. But if you do want the attention of someone and you want them as a uh, networking connection,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, you may have to put in some effort for a bit, but no more than a month. It's like screw it, build your own network. I've been saying this many many times. Build your own network.
Okay.
So yeah, don't sweat it at all. Just leave them in the dust. Bye bye.
I made the
Okay.
mistake a couple months ago of accepting every connection request that came my way because I wanted the numbers. I wanted to hit the 500. So people, when my ICP look at my profile, they go, "There's Kyle. He's got 500 connections. Look at his stuff. He knows what he's doing." I've actually taken a step back and I've cleansed, I didn't cleansed, I purged my
Yeah,
list of everybody I don't care about.
yeah.
Why? Because I want my news feed when I click home to be ICP. And when I'm in the hunting mode and I click that, it's no longer polluted with people overseas, video people who are trying to sell me something and they'll never buy what I'm selling them. And it's not filled with people who will do nothing for me. They don't boost me. I don't care about them. And they're either trying to sell me or it's just a number, right? So by going through that, clearing that up, you have a golden ticket now where when you click that home button, it is filled with your ICP. And if it's filled with people that comment on your stuff and you don't want them there, I just click unfollow.
Yep.
Sorry, Nat, I'm not going to see your post every day, but you're on my list to comment when I'm in that mode. When I'm in the hunting mode, though, that is the golden button there. You click home, and every single person that's in my numbers now, because I've fine-tuned it, are people I know, people I'm hunting, and that's it. It's my ICP and the people who add value to me, and that's
Love
it.
it. That is like gold, folks. That's like a sound bite that I want to record and play. And that's how it's done. I can't do that, right? I'm past that point. But everyone here has the opportunity in some way to do that. And by the way, don't go, removing 5,000, connections right away, right? Like that's not what Kyle's suggesting. But do it slowly but surely. And another interesting thing that you just reminded me of is notifications, right? You can get caught in that notification loop too, which is a really bad sort of like reciprocation device where it's like you see all these people, oh, their post just came up. I need to comment on their stuff. I'm going to be not looking at my notifications probably a lot more, and I'm going to be doing things manually as well as relying on the feed. If you have the feed built correctly, the notifications don't matter as much. And remember, when you're doing reciprocating commenting, you don't have to be the first to comment. Like that whole first to comment shit is like that's gone. It's not. It's reserved for very few people. I just don't even think it's really necessary because even I see like so many of the people that comment on my stuff, they come in like 2, 3 hours later, right? Like if you want to be that first in line, go ahead. You want to still do that old strategy? I got people doing that on my stuff all the time, but you don't need it. You don't need it. So what Kyle is saying is like that's how you build a business faster. That's what we want you to do here. We don't want you to necessarily build an account faster. We want you to build a business faster and more targeted and better. This is why you're seeing someone like Kyle who doesn't have 50,000 followers closing business. And it's only going to get better. He doesn't have to grow fast. Pretty soon, it's going to be overwhelming because he's going to have a lot of shit. Watch, 6 months to a year from now, you'll see. You keep doing it the right way. Anyway, Arnold.
Nat, question for you. Have you tried to track comments to revenue?
Oof, that's a great question. The answer is no, I haven't. I'd love to get Megan on that somehow. Um, uh, I haven't. That's really interesting. It's a
So
really
either
good question.
revenue per comment or tracking the number of comments that convert to clients and testing that between whether or not they're new or whether they are aged in some form or fashion.
One common tracking mechanism that people use, which I actually kind of like, but if it were me, my numbers would suck. A good one is uh, like revenue per user, right? And so you take your followers and then whatever your monthly income is, you divide it and
Mm,
it's like I make $1 per whatever. $1 per follower is like incredible. It's like a
mm.
really, really good statistic. Um, but I'm agreeing with Kyle on here as well, which is in terms of like certain KPIs to measure. I'd be much more business related than I'm worried about my comment to revenue ratio. I think that's a fun thing to explore, but not one to put a lot of weight into.
Yeah, but you're putting a lot of hours in the course of a day or a week into
Sure.
a activity that you are not necessarily managing and that is leading to a burnout.
Mhm.
If I knew I was worth X per comment, motivationally, that might keep me alive for longer. Whereas commenting for comment's sake for me is just, I mean, what's the point
No,
if
and
there's
that, and
no return?
that's precisely what I'm trying to get at here, which commenting for comment's sake is a horrible strategy, right? And so while I get what you're saying completely, what's hard to do unless you had some sort of an actual tracker on this,
Mm.
I totally get what you're
I
saying.
would never do it manually. I'm just asking you whether or not, in some shape or form, you come across or heard of a tracker for revenue per comment that
So
you could automate.
number one, I've never heard of it. Number two, I think it would
Mm.
be fascinating to do it, and I love the actual practice of that because that would validate your commenting even further, right? But what I think the message we're both on the same page is here is like I ain't wasting my time with shit comments, right? Like I'm not going
Mm.
back and forth for no reason. Um, so I totally agree.
Yeah. And just a final question for you. There's commenting and then there is commenting on steroids. And when I've seen Yasmin, for example, his comments are like mini masterpieces. So my question is, how important do you feel is the quality of your comment versus the quantity
Yeah.
of your comments?
So that's a good one, and that's something that Holly Crawshaw does talk about. And she even left me a voice message today, and she's like, "I saved the steak for the new people." So a good way to look at it is this: if you've built a relationship with someone, And you know that you two are just commenting back and forth just to support each other, like, comment, like, comment. You don't need
Like
to.
you and me.
Yeah, yeah, like, you're fine. Like, you don't, do you really need to do a quality comment?
Yeah.
Like, me and Elijah, I always, like, 75% of my comments on Elijah's posts are like humor based and like 4 words.
Mm.
And that's because he and I already are connected. We know each other. I don't need to invest in a great comment. Now, you save the steak, right? The meal, the filet, whatever, for those new people that you are commenting because this is your first comment on them.
Mm.
So you do want to make sure that that's a banger. What
Yeah.
Yasmin does in terms of taking it further, which I don't recommend for people here at the moment, only because you don't have that kind of engagement. He does these like mini post comments within his post,
Mm.
and that just generates more discussion. He doesn't do that on commenting on other people's posts, FYI. He doesn't do that. He makes good comments on other people's posts, but he doesn't put that the kind of effort that he puts into his little mini post comments on his stuff. So very good point. But if I'm prioritizing quality comments, it's on new people.
Okay.
100%.
That's the takeaway.
Yeah, 100%.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Hey,
Kevin.
Matt, can I just jump in real quick on
Yeah.
the comment counting thing? I spent a bunch of time looking at the API, trying to find ways to count comments and trying to create that message you were just talking about, the metric. And there isn't really a way to do it. And one of the things that I kind of decided was it's kind of like cold calling, where you don't necessarily measure the results of every single call you make. You just measure the number of calls that you're trying to make, and that's your metric that you're tracking every day. And it's a leading indicator. If you're doing the work, you'll get the benefits down the road.
Yep, I love it. I love it. And so, Arnold, I'm sure you heard that. And by the way, if there's someone who understands the technical elements here, it's Chris. So, and if there's someone who could build out something like that, it's probably Chris. So, but I agree with him completely. And I mentioned this morning, and I've said this a million times. I have a whole freaking 19-page PDF on it. Commenting is the new cold calling. So it's pretty evident. And when you look at cold calling, it's the exact same thing, right? Back in the day, back in the 80s, whatever, stockbrokers, if you're making 200 cold calls a day, chances are you're going to be doing all right in 6 months to a year. Obviously, you need to get better at calling. I get all that. But when you're cold calling, who are you calling? You're not calling the same people every day, are you? No. And that's a great analogy for commenting. Like we shouldn't be commenting like for nothing. And it's just air. It's wasting time. The comments that are valuable are the new people that you are trying to build relationships with. Just like cold calling. It's the same thing.
Now, here's the secret sauce too. Commenting as opposed to cold calling, you're not interrupting anyone's day and making them upset. Cold calling, I'm waiting for this important call about a sale. Oh, it's someone trying to sell me something with the same script I've heard a million times. Commenting on LinkedIn, you are helping them with their impressions because they're trying to boost their impressions. You're adding value to what they said by adding your stuff to it. And three, it's not a conversation where everything it's back and forth instantly. There's a pause. They can go on your profile. They can do their research. They can go, this guy, I know who this guy is. And you come into it where you know who they are too. So you have some ground to speak on. Hey, I went on your profile today and I saw this, this, and this. Did you know people in this area do that? And I help them with that. Like you're structuring a conversation where is it cold? Yes. But I believe it's warmer than the past of
Oh
just
yeah,
calling so and so, which is why I love this so much, where
hands
there's so
down.
much potential here.
Hands down. When else in the history of the universe could you know something about a person before approaching them? Never until social media existed, right? So gone are the days of like, so I see you went to Harvard in your resume, like, what'd you learn there? Like, that's so cheesy and lame and like not sincere, but it's pretty damn sincere if someone wrote a piece of content and you could say to them, you know what, that really resonated with me. I've got a couple kids too, and I remember when this happened. Like, that's real. It's real. So you had to really scrape and claw for information in the cold calling days. And even then, they're like, "Get the fuck out of here! Like, who are you? I don't know who you are. Like, I don't need you to tell me like what college I went to. Leave me alone. Stop trying to build that relationship." But you can really do that on a LinkedIn, right? Uh, and that's where we're headed. It's like legal cheating. I mean, like you're literally allowed to cheat. It's great. So I think what we're really talking about today is just the opportunity to not fake it, man. Is to not fake it. Kevin, thanks for waiting. Sorry.
No sweat. So I've noticed two things on LinkedIn recently, and I just want to make sure my observations are right. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
One is selfies are crushing it. Two, I'm noticing more storytelling of like personal lives, which that's different for me from LinkedIn a year ago, where like it's not all business anymore. It's like this happened in my life, this happened in my kid's life, this happened in my wife's life, like all these things. It's more like stories. I noticed like two or three posts of that plus mixed in with like business. And then my third observation is like videos. If you were to focus one or all, what would be the top hitter for more engagement other than commenting, which like absolutely new comments? What is the main driver, main focus that we should be all doing between those three?
Okay. So I'll try to answer them all. What I love is so first of all, I'm a selfie guy just because I have the t-shirts and it's an easy angle for me. So yes. Um, but with regard to um, shit, go over that second one again. Damn it. Hold on, because I had that thought. The second one you were saying.
The storytelling from
Oh,
like
okay, okay, yeah, 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 okay.
personal stories.
So who would you rather have relationships with, right? And this is going to give you the answer. Or who would you rather be? Your persona. Would you rather be known as, you know, Kevin, I know that guy. He always posts about X. Or would you rather be known as your job title? That's the answer to that question, right? So, like for me, I want to be known as T-shirt guy first, coach second. Why? Because it's personal. It's something about me. They know my style, my attitude, whatever it is. And then, because that's how you build a relationship, that other stuff comes in later. Now, to your point about the actual content, I've always said this a million times. The ultimate content is one that blends both. So, can you talk about personal things related to what your business is? Absolutely. That's what I call bringing it home. And that's part of the posting formula that I have in the course, right? The HSSRC, right? You hook them in with something. It could be a personal story, but then you relate it to what you do. And that to me is the most effective content. Now, you don't have to do that. You can go all personal, one post, and then the next day you can go all business. It's completely up to you. Remember, there's nothing in a vacuum here. You don't have to like abide by a certain whatever. Some people do 5 different kinds of posts every single week. It's entirely up to you. Whatever helps you not burn out, I think is important. As far as video goes, again, I've said this many, many times. I'm not 100% sold on like these videos getting 500,000 impressions doing anything for your account, but I am sold on having a better relationship to your audience.
Mm.
And if a video can help you get there, then by all means, do a video. The reason I don't is because it's a little bit longer process. So a successful video post has to have accompanying text. Can't just post one sentence and have like a video. It doesn't work very well. So that's the reason I sort of shy away from videos, but I'll get them up once in a while. Um, but to use video to break into the algorithm and grow your account, it's a completely wrong reason to do it. You have to look at the more holistic, the more important metric, which is like building relationships, getting sales, da 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 da, da, right? And eventually over time, all that stuff works. Did I get to everything there? I think maybe. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. There he is. Yitz. What's up, man?
Hello.
Hello.
So I have two questions. It will be a follow-up. So based on what you just mentioned, I want to go back to the beginning, why somebody like me, I'm looking for a lot of engagement. It's that image when somebody comes to your profile, they check you out. If they see you only have 10 likes and 15 likes, 20, it's different when they will see that you have high ups or above 100, which we spoke that's a number I'm trying to achieve, but within the United States, which makes it much more challenging because if I would have targeted everywhere in the universe, I would have been way, way above already from what I'm doing. Isn't that a factor? I mean,
It's a vanity factor. It's a vanity factor. And so I can't answer whether that's going to be better for your business or not. What I can answer is that it's going to be better for your vanity metrics. Now, the two can be intertwined because someone who could be a potential client of yours could very well look at your stuff and say, you know what, that's interesting. He's got like 80 comments here. He's doing something right. I should listen to him. That's totally possible. So, what I like to stress, and I've always stressed this, is like all the above, right? All the above. There's nothing wrong with having a massive account. There's nothing wrong with having a ton of engagement. These are all good things. But what are we looking at for real here? The why. Why? Why do you want all these views? Why do you want all these shares? Why do you? And sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. What I think the most important metric is, especially in this community, what do we really want here? Sales, money, right? I'm not trying to be all freaking Wolf of Wall Street, like all that matters is money here, but majority of you on here came to this community to learn how to more effectively grow your business, build relationships, get sales, right? And I think that if relationships come along the way, wonderful. I think that's wonderful. If you want to join LinkedIn to make friends, that's great. But have at it. More power to you, right? I wouldn't join this community if you're looking to go on LinkedIn to make friends. You know what I mean? Like, it's about that. So there's definitely some validity there. It's hard. There's no question there's validity there. It's just, it's very hard to determine where it's valid, which user it's going to be valid for, right? Which is why I like the all of the above approach. I may have a profile where someone will see, holy shit, that guy gets a lot of comments. He must know what he's talking about. Okay, great, that works in my favor. Whereas plenty of other people won't care. I can't control that. I can only, you know what I mean? Anyway, follow up.
so based on that, I believe that because it's running on a higher number already, I'm getting more visibility for that reasons which I just mentioned, which also gave me already last week I was invited to be on a panel, and I wouldn't be surprised I'll get more of those. Now, what I did found is that many people I engaged in that last week, after reviewing their profiles, they do not have images. A lot of them have logos, icons, and that means I'm missing out a lot by not. So again, having a lot of those on engaging with me, it looks like a lot of bots if we think about it. On the other side, we're talking about very quality type of people who could bring a lot of business. They just don't feel they're not on LinkedIn to do sales. They don't want to put themselves out there. They want to put on the logo, whatever the reason is. So I wanted to get a little bit more your input based on that and everything.
Yeah, I don't love profiles that don't have pictures or information in them or enough information in them. I don't love them. It's like if you were going to meet someone, you know, how would you present yourself to that person? You know what I mean? Like I just don't love that. And if you suspect that it's a bot, then I don't love that either. I think the more like for you, it's pretty simple. The more New York City based, potentially qualified people who took the time to create a profile to potentially engage, to potentially create content, the more of those you have, you win. I think the more you have these faux profiles that seem to be empty, is what I'll use the word empty, right? Whether it's bot created or a human just did it once and just let the thing go. That's not what you need.
It's not fake to me. I know they are real. It will be fake to you when you come to my profile and check out my engagement. So that's the offset there, which
No, I hear you. I understand that. Those could be people then where I would just kind of do further research, and I might actually reach out to those people off of LinkedIn if they're not busy on LinkedIn. You know what I mean? I might comment on their profile. I might send them a DM. That's one where I would say, quote unquote, requires further research. You know what I'm saying? And you could put that into a separate bucket, meaning not a high priority one.
that's the level I did until now, and I'm not sure.
Okay.
A lot of them are getting nice engagements online, whatever. It's a hard one.
I understand. And Step's also right about that. Sometimes it is profile privacy settings. Sometimes when you go into like who's viewed your profile, if you see something where there's like no picture, it could very well be them shielding their own profile. It's completely possible. Or sometimes it'll be like someone from, like you'll see that on your like who's viewed your profile. And the reason it says someone from is because that someone doesn't want you to know who they are. Steph, you probably have more on this.
Hang on. As far as the profiles being blank, yeah, I'm learning that the hard way. It's then they connect with you and they show all the info and I'm like, oh, got it. You're not just some weird anon person on LinkedIn. I have mine pretty much locked down. If you're not connected with me, at least in like I think a second circle on LinkedIn, you can't see shit. It's just a lot of personal information on LinkedIn. It's just very weird. Anyway, so I did actually have a question. Is there etiquette around sharing posts with your own comments, like making your own post based to expand on the comment that you left on someone else's? I of course tag the creator. I don't like to share the post though, because those ones always perform poorly. But is there etiquette around that?
Yeah, I mean, if they're if you're using someone else's comment or your own on their post as a basis for creating your own content, which I think is what you're saying,
Yes.
I always just like to tag them. As simple as that, and that to me is more than enough because that's
Okay.
more than most people will do. I don't like to engage in the practice of anything that is perceived as either plagiarism or just not giving credit where credit is due. Um, because honestly, it doesn't happen often for me where like get inspiration from someone's comment or post. But yeah, I love that, and I think it's just a great way to fortify a relationship. So the etiquette I would always use is like when in doubt, credit. It's almost like journalism, right? Like when in doubt, just cite the source. And I think it's also a really good way to sort of it can get some sort of train going. You never know, right? Like especially when you tag someone. So I think it's just always good to be a good person, right? And like, hey, Seth Rona you wrote this post the other day, and I commented on it, and it just gave me a great idea for a post. Like that's such a good thing to put in a post, in my opinion. It's such goodwill. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm hoping just to stick in their brain when they go to tag people that do things and they want to refer other people that do things. Like this person tags me. I want to stick in your brain.
yeah. You do or don't?
Do.
Yeah, you do. Okay, I thought you said don't. I'm like, of course you do.
No, I do.
Elijah, I saw your hand up, and I know you have something good because you're always delivering pearls. Let's go.
Also, please show your cat. I'm sorry, your cat's gorgeous.
That little Bengal, that little terror. Yeah, he's a cutie. It was so many threads ago now I'm like, what were we even talking about? I think you answered most of it, but it was about that, is there some kind of a strategy of what type of content are you going to put out? Should it be video? Should it be this? Should it be that? And my immediate thoughts were, first of all, it depends like where are you in your journey, right? Like what game are you playing? Are you just starting off? Do you have 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 followers? So that's going to make a huge difference, right? And then what's the game you're playing? Are you trying to just build an audience, right? Under, one content pillar, five different content pillars? Are you trying to convert right now into sales? Like what's the game you're playing? So I think like once you find that out, the content, regardless of what game you're playing or where you are in your journey, it still has to offer some kind of value, right? And it's either going to be entertainment or it's going to be education. Entertainment could be I'm going to inspire somebody, I'm going to make somebody laugh, whatever it is. Education, like that's a little tougher, right? You got to offer that value of, okay, what am I going to teach this person? And those things aside, stuff just trends, like it undeniably trends, right? Like some stuff gets more reach, some stuff doesn't. I started playing around with videos. I did one last week that got 350,000 impressions and picked up a bunch of new followers, just like completely out of nowhere. And then a carousel with like, having under 10,000 followers got, almost 400 likes, got shared 37 times again, picked up a couple hundred followers. Like completely out of the blue, right? And then who knows, maybe next week that's going to change, but a lot of people will ride those waves. Like they'll just keep going. They'll spot those things that are working well. And the only way you can do it is keep getting your content better and then experimenting and then watching what other people are doing. Because if there is a massive creator out there like Yasmin or Chris Donnelly or any of these guys that have a lot of resources and there's people camped out watching to see what is moving on the platform, they're going to do it, And so if you may not get the exact same results because they've got a completely different level of following. And they've got an army of sycophants, just like Nat does, who will like show up on their post just to be there because they want to be seen on his post. But at the same time, they are still going to play the game of trying to do the things that the algorithm just happens to be carrying at that time. And that's kind of a good North Star to kind of keep an eye on. So that was it.
Love it. Chris S.
Hey, just kind of based on what you were just talking about, but then something else that I've been thinking about a lot is I see a lot of like differing advice. Somebody will say, post like 6 times a day, and somebody will say, post once a day, no more than 18 hours or no less than 18 hours apart. And you get all these different pieces of advice. Newsletters are amazing. And it made me realize that you can be successful in almost any tactic that you do as long as you focus on that and you get better at it and you work at it. And so if you mentioned if it's not fun, stop doing it, right? Now, I think there's a limit to some of that. You've got to do stuff that's not fun to some extent just to make it work, right? You got to do the hard work. But I do think that if you put your head down and you do the base level metrics for any particular path that you want to take, all of them can be successful. And everybody who's out there that's saying this works, it's because it works for them. And sometimes what works for them isn't going to be what works for you to be able to do it. That's something I've been thinking about.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And like, I wasn't saying if it isn't fun, don't do it. I was saying other people say that. I do believe that if you're doing something that leads to incredible burnout, you have to reassess what you're doing, excuse me, and why you're doing it. But when someone asks me for an opinion, I'll give it, right? Like if someone says to me, should I be doing LinkedIn newsletters? I'll say, my experience is that you don't get a lot of, it sucks, and I don't love LinkedIn newsletters. But to your point, if I put all my effort into LinkedIn newsletters for a year, and not a month, not a week, not 2 weeks, a year, I'd have to think I'd get somewhere, right? And that's I think that's where you're coming from, and I think you're absolutely 100% right. You could devote yourself to being a video person. You could devote yourself to being a selfie person. It doesn't matter. But if you stick with that thing and make it work until you see data otherwise, right, where you really should know, like, hey, I need to go in a different direction here. I think you're absolutely right. And that's one thing that's actually very nice about social media in general, not just LinkedIn, is that there's a million methods that can work, a million. And so you do have to find the one that works for you. I think that's a good message for everybody here to sort of maybe close it out with. I don't know. Does anyone have any other questions? No? Yes? Maybe? Anyway, so yeah, new platforms humming. We're kicking ass. New member today. We're getting new members all the time. Tomorrow, Darren and I are going to, finalize the word of the week. Sycophants? Yeah, maybe I'll do sycophants as the word of the week. Thanks, Megan.
Did you hear Elijah say that?
I sure did.
That was Elijah. He said it. I just
No, no,
wrote it down.
no, but yeah, I mean, it's a nicer word for like psychotics, who are just like,
Stuck
yeah,
up.
total
Psychopath.
nutballs who are like on your shit constantly.
Cray
But
cray
yeah,
people.
we'll definitely figure it out. But anyway, things are rocking and rolling with the brand build community, so we're excited. We're hoping that the app will be out sooner than later. I know a lot of you folks live on your phones a hell of a lot more than you do on desktop. Trust me, I am impatient. We are all impatient. As far as we know, things are rolling along as they should at Apple. So we think that's going to be just a matter of time. Otherwise, look, have a kick-ass week. I'm always around. Everyone here is always around. And we. All right, have a good week, everybody. See you later.